government, politics, entertainment, education, religion. I do not know how people still fail to see that life is a scam. There are many people in this world who think that this is good. Whatever is going on in this world is good. Listen, your parents were scammed. Your grandparents were scammed. You are being scammed. I told myself 5 years back that I'm not going to bring a child into this world. After realizing that this whole thing was a scam. Best decision that I ever made. Like, there isn't a decision that I've made that's better than that decision. Realizing that the whole thing, is a scam, and deciding that I'm not going to bring a child into this world. That's the best decision that I've ever made. This is not working. They've lied to you. They try to make you feel a certain way about the nonsense that is going on, so that you'll be okay with the bullshit. This is really not working. This is not how you're supposed to live. You're not supposed to wake up in the morning and go to work. You're not supposed to work just to survive. That is slavery. Slaves used to work so that they can survive. How many people in this world are working just to survive? But they're not asking questions. They are working just to survive. Like, their lives are completely meaningless. I mean, life itself is meaningless, but at least we can create our own meaning. But these people can't even create their own meaning because they're slaves. You are working just to survive. How can you live a meaningful life if you're just working to survive? How can you create a meaningful life if you're a slave? Like, you're not free to make your own decisions. You know that if you ever try to make your own decisions, you're going to lose your job. And if you lose your job, well, you might actually end up homeless, And that people will actually depend on you. These people are going to suffer if you stop working. Not enough people are talking about how work is a scam. It's a scam, bruh. You're supposed to be free and only be doing things that are actually necessary. You don't even know why you have a job, what the whole thing is about. Sitting in an office, typing some stuff, like, nah, man, you're not supposed to be doing that as a human. That's depressing. That's not fun. Human beings want to have fun. You wonder why you're depressed, You wonder why you're taking antidepressants. You wonder why you always gotta smoke, Always buy a pack of cigarettes. You gotta smoke because you're stressed. You're not happy. You're not enjoying your life. You're a slave. You see everyone working, and you're like, well, these people seem, to be okay with doing this shit, so I gotta be okay with doing this. No, you're not supposed to be okay. Especially if you're intelligent, because, people who are intelligent do ask questions. Like, hey, why do I gotta wake up early in the morning and go to work? Even though I'm not being paid enough? It's scary that there are people who are working shitty jobs or are still having children. Like, that is scary. They're still having children. They know they're working shitty jobs. They know that they can't even take care of their children, but they're having them. Like, what do they expect? We've been lied to. We've been programmed to be slaves, to not be able to think for ourselves, to not be able to realize that we are slaves, so that we'll continue to, work for this system that does not value us. You think this system values you? People do not ask enough questions, man. You are in a world that you do not understand. You are in a world that no one seems to understand. No one seems to know what we are doing here. No one seems to know what this is all about. And when you ask questions, people start thinking that you're crazy. Like, you mustn't ask questions. You must just do what everyone else is doing. They've programmed us since we were little to hate the truth, to hate asking questions, to hate those who ask questions. They program us since we were little to comply. People think that kids are being taught things that are actually going to improve their lives when they go to school. They don't realize that they are being trained to be slaves. They are being trained to comply. That is what school is about. There isn't anything that you've learned that is actually important. You were literally getting trained to be a slave, but it looked like you were learning something. No, you were getting trained to be a slave, so that when you get older, you will not have a problem waking up early in the morning to go to work. That's what the whole thing was about. That is why people do not mind waking up in the morning and going to work. You leave your wife at home, you leave your kids at home, go to work. I mean, you don't really leave your kids at home. They have to go to school, so that when they get older, they will have a job like you, so that, well, they'll be able to pay their bills. People do not ask enough questions. We pretend as if that is okay. We pretend as if that's how humans are supposed to be. No, we are slaves and we are not happy. People pretending as if they are happy, lying to other people. Nah, like, you were happy maybe when you were a child, because even though you were being trained to be a slave, you were free in many ways that you ain't now. You were free enough to be yourself. Even though your parents, will try to discipline you sometimes. Like, no, you can't be like that. You can't think like that. But you were kind of free. But because you were being trained to be a slave, you ended up becoming a slave. Now you're a slave. Now you are not free at all. You're not free to be yourself. You're not free to speak your mind. You're not free to break the rules. I mean, kids break the rules all the time and they don't really care. But now you can't break the rules. This whole thing is a scam, man. This whole thing is a scam. That's why I'm telling you that the best decision that I ever made was deciding not to have children. Deciding not to bring anyone else here. After realizing that the whole thing was a scam, after realizing that, they've lied to us. They've lied to us about everything. We don't know where we come from. We don't know who we are. We don't know what our purpose here is. Giving us different religions so that we'll keep on fighting. It's sad how people defend their religions as if they weren't indoctrinated, as if at some point in their lives they wanted to know the truth. and they started to, you know, do their research, and they discovered that the religion that they believe in is actually the right religion. No, like, you've been indoctrinated. Your parents were indoctrinated. And you find yourself defending these religions. Like, what was done to you is very horrible, man. You're like a zombie, you know? You know, in these zombie or apocalyptic movies where people get beaten by zombies and they turn into zombies. You know, in the beginning, you were this human full of life, you know, asking questions, and then you got indoctrinated and you became a zombie. And now you're indoctrinating everyone else, including your children. And they will indoctrinate their children, and you know, this whole nonsense will continue. People not asking themselves enough questions about what's really going on, about what they are doing. We can see that a lot of people are suffering, a lot of innocent people who are suffering here. But as a society, we don't stop and ask ourselves, wait, what is this really about? What is really going on? Why ain't things changing? You know, we watch these politicians playing with us. The president of the United States is Biden. That guy can't even speak well. I mean, he can speak, but he be saying nonsense, really. Like, he doesn't make sense when he speaks. He's the president of the country that everyone, you know, thinks is great. If you ask him what his name is, he probably won't tell you. He's old. He's a puppet, you know. In South Africa, things ain't working out. Black people are in power and they're not doing anything, you know, to save this country. Like, things are becoming worse. More than 60% of young people are unemployed, and things are becoming worse. 5 years from now, more than 70% of young people will be unemployed. 10 years from now, you find that only 10% of young people are employed. And people are breathing like they know what they're doing. They're bringing children into a world where things are not working out. You already know that things ain't working out for people that are here. They literally have to compete for survival. And if they say, I'm depressed, I don't think this is working, we believe that they are sick and they need to be given pills. What? They're not supposed to be rational. They're not supposed to think right. If people start thinking the way that they need to think, they should be given pills. They're sick. And you don't realize that this whole thing is a scam. Now, people who think are the ones that are being diagnosed with all kinds of mental illnesses. I love when I hear a person who's normal, person who's just normal, you know, a person who's just average, a person that doesn't even see what's going on, diagnosing people who are way smarter. It's crazy. You find a person who's average diagnosing people who are super smart. Like, you know, this person, you know, is crazy. That is why they think like this, you know. So maybe this medication will help this. Like, no, man, you average. You don't think. That is why you don't see what is going on. So you think that people who are able to see what's going on are crazy, but no, you are the one who is crazy. You are so crazy that you don't even see that you're crazy, and you live in a society full of crazy people. And because intelligent people are outnumbered, they will suffer. You keep on voting for the wrong people. Now, even when you do vote for the right people, well, they will still put the wrong people in power. Like, that's how it works. Things ain't supposed to change. We were programmed to choose the wrong people to lead us. You see how we are attracted to certain people. Like, okay, this person is attractive. That's how we actually feel about people that we choose to lead us. And these ain't the right people. You know, there's a part of me that believes that there are certain bloodlines that are meant to lead us, and we love, you know, we love these bloodlines. Like, yeah, these are the people that should lead us, but they don't have our best interest. Like, they don't care about us. You know, some of them don't even know that they're supposed to be leaders, but they're supposed to be leaders. We're gonna make them leaders. You know, even if they don't really want to be leaders, we're gonna make them leaders just because they will enslave us in the end. They don't really care about us. They're gonna manipulate us. They're gonna turn us into slaves. They're not gonna liberate us. They're not gonna allow us to learn what we need to learn to free ourselves. Like, we've been programmed to be attracted to these bloodlines. Be like, yo, that person is a leader. That person is a leader. This reminds me of this scene from the book of Clarence. I've actually told you about this scene. So, in the book of Clarence, there was this black guy who was Jesus, like the real Jesus. But you know, a lot of people didn't know him. And there was this homeless guy. You know, he was white, suffering a lot. You know, people were mistreating him. Jesus, you know, prayed for him and made money come out of his hand. So he was able to make money come out of his hand. He went to this other lady, gave them money, and you know, they cleaned him up. And when they looked at him, they thought he looked like Jesus. Like, yo, Jesus, this guy is Jesus. You know, just because of how he looked. He ended up getting crucified because you know, the guys that were crucifying false messiahs saw him and were like, this looks like another false messiah, and they crucified him. That was funny. That was really funny. But someone drew him while he was on the cross, and he became Jesus, you know? I mean, everyone just thought, okay, that's Jesus, like that's the real Jesus, because of how he looked. It's like people have been programmed to see certain people as leaders. Like, okay, this is the guy that's supposed to lead us. This is the guy. That's why we keep on electing the wrong people. I mean, it's crazy that we never really get to elect the right people. It's crazy. Like, Americans, when last did you like really have a good president? Like, things are not working. You can see that things are not working. You can see that there's no future. You can see that there's no hope. Look at the entertainment industry. When I was young, I was a big fan of hip hop, man. Today I was trying to like listen to some rap songs, new rap songs, and I was like, damn, what's going on? Like, what happened? Like, they're feeding us garbage for real, like real garbage, you know? And we're supposed to be okay with that. This whole thing is a scam, man, you know? I was watching this movie called Soul 22. I mean, it's called Soul. So there's this soul called Soul 22 that didn't want to come to Earth because, well, Earth sucks. Earth is boring, you know? So she knew that. She's like, nah, I ain't coming to Earth. You know, give her different mentors, like, yo, try to train this soul to, actually develop a spark so that they will want to go to Earth. And, they all failed. Until this guy, was supposed to, like, train her. He died while he was on Earth, and he was supposed to go to the afterlife, but he didn't want to go to the afterlife, so he wandered around and actually got lost and ended up having to mentor Soul 22, and somehow he was able to make her develop, a spark. He was somehow able to make her feel like, yo, Earth was good. How he was able to make her feel that way, was through music. Music, food. And that made me realize that, well, that's part of the scam. Like the music, the food, the emotions that we feel, that makes us forget all the horrible shit that's going on. The wars, slavery, inequality, poverty, we forget all of that. We forget that the food that we enjoy come from animals. Like, animals have to die every single day, and they have to die horrible death so that we'll be able to have a great meal, and people don't even care. You tell them that, hey man, but it's wrong how we're treating animals, man. I mean, think about it. These are conscious beings. These are beings that have brains like us. These are beings that can suffer like us. These are beings that, feel emotions, and we put them in cages because we want to eat them. They don't care. You're like, what kind of place is this? Like, we feel like that is okay, that these animals must suffer so that we can have food, No, that is not okay, and that is obvious. We shouldn't even be having this kind of conversation, like about animals suffering. Like, people shouldn't even be talking about animals suffering, because we should have realized a long time ago that these animals are suffering because of us, because we want to eat them. We don't realize that there are a lot of people who have to suffer so that some people will enjoy their lives. Like, everything good is predicated upon something that is evil. Everything that is good. Like, bad things have to happen so that good things will happen. People have to be slaves so that some people will be kings. Some people have to be poor so that some people will be rich. This is not good, bro. But because, this whole thing is a scam, they'll tell us about the good things, the music, love. I mean, even love is a scam. But they'll just tell us about the good things and make us forget about the horrible things. Make us forget about the illnesses. I mean, Soul 22 wasn't told about the illnesses, the wars, Soul 22 was only shown what is actually good about this place. So she felt like, oh, maybe it's, maybe Earth is good. Like, no, it's not. There are a lot of horrible things that are happening to people. And these people don't want horrible things to be happening to them. Lots of horrible things that are happening to, animals. And they don't want these horrible things to be happening to them. We're all here just waiting for fucked up shit to happen. Because we don't even know what is going on. Isn't that scary? We don't know what is going on. You know that bad things can happen at any time. And you suffering, on top of everything, you suffering. It's not like you'll be enjoying your life and you're happy, you know, everything makes sense and then something bad happens. Like, nah, you'd actually be suffering, but then you're already used to your suffering, so you're just waiting for something that's worse, that's gonna make you feel worse. So you're suffering every day, but you're used to your suffering. So you're like, hey, this is life. This is how life is. Life is suffering. You know, that's what many people say. Even people who believe that you are having a positive experience here will tell you that life is suffering. I remember Jordan Peterson say that life is suffering. Like, yeah, it is suffering. Why bring people here if it's suffering? You know, everyone knows that life is suffering. So you suffer every day. You suffer, waiting for the worst to happen, so that you cry. You just gotten used to your suffering. You're suffering every day, but you've gotten used to it. Like, there ain't that many people who are enjoying their lives, and I think people that you admire, people who seem to be really doing well in life, are bored. You know, they're bored as well. You know, if you have everything that you want, you become bored. That's why they say it's all about the journey, not the destination. You can have everything that you want, but still be bored because, well, you've gotten used to the things that you have. Like, you have everything. So, what do you do? Like, people are bored, man. People are bored. That is why people who are rich do evil things in the world. Look at Vince McMahon. I mean, who does the shit that, you know, they say he did? I mean, do you think he did not do the shit that they say he did? Looking at him, you can see that he can't be trusted. You know, Vince can't be trusted. But yeah, man, think about it. Like, he's rich. Why would he do that shit? Shitting on people, abusing people. Boredom, bruh. Boredom. A person like you don't want to do that shit because there are things that you feel like you must have, and if you have these things, you're gonna feel happy. But if you had everything, you'll be like, okay, what should I do? You'd start wanting to torture people. Be like, yeah, nothing else makes me happy, so I must torture people. I must make other people suffer. That's gonna make me feel good. Is it? You've watched Squid Game, right? You've watched Squid Game, and that's kind of how our society is. You know, you've watched Squid Game, and you've realized that this is how, like, our society. It's like rich people just want us to compete. They want us to fight. They control everything. You know, they literally control everything. You know, people will do anything for money in this world. You wake up and you go to work because you want money. You literally do anything for money. Trust me, money runs the world. If you want something in this world, you gotta have money. You want a wife, you want a car, you want a house, you want people to love you, money. You want to have, you know, influence, money. You want to be famous, money. Like, with money, you can do anything in this world. So everyone wants money, you know. People with money run the world. They make people do whatever they want them to do. Like, if you had money, you would make people do whatever you want them to do, you know. Like, whatever. You'd make people do whatever. Like, whatever it is, you know, you make people do, like, people will do anything for money. You want people to be your slaves, they will be your slaves as long as you're giving them money. You want people to go and you know, kill someone, money. You want women to, you know, be all over you, money. You know, everything is money, man. Everything is money. But even the richest people get bored because this is boring. That is the truth. This is boring. It's a scam. It's just not easy to see that it's a scam because, well, there are a lot of people who are, busy doing things, and you think they know what they're doing, but they have no clue what they're doing. So you don't really see that this is a scam. You don't really see that this isn't working. You don't see how wrong this is. That's why there are many things that we are doing as a society that are wrong, but no one ever say, but these things are wrong. Like, yeah, that's life. Because we're all chasing money. People don't even have integrity because they're chasing money. You find people doing things that they know are wrong for money. You find people defending people that they know are wrong for money, defending, their bosses because of money. Like, they don't have integrity. It's about the money, bro. People can't speak the truth because, well, they know that if they really speak the truth, they can lose a lot of things. I mean, really, think about it. Let's say you had all the money in the world. Would you be afraid to speak the truth? Why would you be afraid to speak the truth? You have all the money in the world. You don't depend on anyone. Everyone depends on you. Why would you be afraid to speak the truth? But if you have nothing, you'll be afraid to speak the truth. You'll be like, ish, okay, I speak the truth. What's going to happen? I depend on these people. I depend on my boss, I depend on the people that I work with. What's going to happen if I speak the truth? What if my boss does not agree with me? What's going to happen? What if my coworkers don't agree with me? What's going to happen? What if my wife doesn't agree with me? What's going to happen? I mean, if you don't really have money, you will care. But if you have money, you'll be like, hey, whatever, man. I want to be the real me. And if people do not love me, it's cool. There will be some people who love me, of course. But I don't need them. But you have nothing. So you're scared. I remember my uncle told me that, the way that you live life, man, you gotta be rich so that you don't really depend on anyone, because people are gonna judge you, people are gonna judge you. So if you ever depend on them, then you're gonna suffer because they will judge you. They'll be like, oh, that person is against, my religion. That person publicly say this about my religion. It's like you're gonna lose a lot of opportunities. But if you had your own money, you wouldn't care because you wouldn't depend on anyone. In fact, they will be the ones that will depend on you, and because you have a good heart, you wouldn't judge them for their beliefs. You'll be like, hey, it is what it is. You'll show them that you're actually on the right, Like, at this point, it's not easy for people to really see that you are right. You like Jesus minus the miracles. People wouldn't follow Jesus if they didn't think dude was powerful. You realize that, right? Like, people who say they believe in Jesus, like, they wouldn't follow Jesus if they did not believe that Jesus was powerful, if they did not believe that Jesus will help them. They don't even realize that that's why they think they love Jesus. It's not because Jesus had a good heart. It's not because Jesus spoke the truth. It's not because Jesus loved them. There are a lot of people who love you, who care about you, who will do anything for you that you do not give a fuck about because they have nothing, because they have no power, they cannot do anything in this world. So you don't love Jesus because he loves you. You love Jesus because you believe that he is powerful, They gave you this perfect being that loves you and that died for your sins. You worship this being. Like, yo, I love this being with all my heart. Nah, man, you you're selfish. Your love comes from selfishness. Your love for Jesus comes from selfishness. Don't even realize that. Like, your love for Jesus literally comes from selfishness. You love Jesus because you believe that he will save you and he's going to protect you in this world and he's going to give you what you want. I know a lot of people will be praying for jobs in this world, praying to be slaves. Oh, I want that job. And when they get these jobs, like, oh, Jesus, this and that. Like, why do you think Jesus will give you a job where you're going to be mistreated, where you're going to be a slave, where you're going to do a lot of horrible things? Like, it's crazy that we live in a world like this, man. It's crazy that people are like this. Like, it's really crazy. Like, the double standards, lack of intellectual honesty, delusions. Like, human beings are something else. Like, it's scary that we live in a society like this. Let me tell you something. If human beings had good hearts, I mean, this world is full of religious people who believe that they have, good hearts. This world would actually be good. If humans really believed in heaven, this world would really be good. Because they will know that they don't need to do the right things to actually get to heaven. They don't even believe in that. Like, they're so confused that they don't even know what they really believe. It's like some part of them like want to believe in heaven so bad that they will actually pray and all that, but there's a part of them that's like, hey, that's bullshit, man. Let me try to get my money. Let me try to do what works in this world, I mean, think about it. Let's say you really believe that heaven really existed and this was all temporary, and you believe that you'll be completely happy in heaven, what would you be doing in this world? Like, what would you be doing? Would you even be working like a slave? I mean, you'd only be here for like 6 to 7 to 80 years. You probably get sick and die. I wouldn't even be working out or taking care of my health. I wouldn't even care. I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I got to do. I'm just going to try to save people. I'm just going to try to make people understand that Jesus is really the way. Allah is the way, whatever people believe. I'll just try to make people believe that, I know the way. And I'll try to make people see that this is the way, and yeah, so that they will be saved in the end. I wouldn't really care about getting rich in this. Why would I even want to get rich in a world that I know is not good? I mean, the religious people believe that the devil runs shit here. So you see that there's hypocrites. You can see that these people have been scammed, and they continue to allow other people to scam them. They continue to allow other people to lie to them. They continue to allow other people to lie to their children, to their grandchildren. And they pretend as if all of that is okay. And if their children say, but this world is not it. This world is not good enough. They act like their children are bad. Why are you not grateful that I had you, I brought you into this world, I gave you this gift of life? I'm not grateful because, well, this world really sucks and you are slaves and you want me to be a slave. You want me to comply. You want me to be okay with what's going on in this world, and I can see that it's nonsense. Like, I'm conscious enough to see that this is nonsense. Just because you weren't conscious enough to see that it's nonsense doesn't mean that I wouldn't be conscious enough to see that this is nonsense. It is nonsense, and that is the truth. You see, when people are being scammed, they don't see that they're being scammed. It's only after they've been scammed that they're able to see that they're being scammed. But there are people who will be able to see when people are being scammed that they are being scammed. See? There will be people like me who will be able to say that, oh, these people are being scammed. Sometimes we'll try to warn them, like, hey, you are being scammed. Wake up. Stop being stupid. You see, people who are trying to scam you wouldn't tell you that they're scamming you until it's too late. Don't even tell you that they scammed you. You just have to realize it yourself. Like, oh shit, I've been scammed, and then you start having regrets, and by that time it's too late. It's like people never realize that they're being scammed until it's too late, till they've been scammed completely, and the scammers don't really care anymore because, well, they've scammed them. It doesn't make sense that people are actually okay with this. It doesn't make sense. I do understand that the music is great. I love music. I do understand that the emotions, that people get to, like, people are addicted to their emotions. So yeah, sometimes you feel great. You want to feel great. I understand that. I understand that people want to get high. People want to party. People want to have friendships, relationships. They want to drive nice cars. They want to travel, all that. But when you look at the horrible shit that is happening, if you were intellectually honest, you'll be like, I don't care about all this good shit. I can't enjoy while other people are suffering. Let's create a world that is balanced first. I don't want to be this selfish person who only cares about myself. I was having a conversation with this other Christian a few days back. I was like, yo, man, I believe that heaven is a state of mind. I mean, heaven doesn't exist, but I do believe that there's a state of mind where you are like truly peaceful, so we can compare it to heaven. And here's how I believe you reach that state of mind. But I want to explain this first to you. Listen, do you think that if Jesus really existed, he would want to save us? Or he would want us to save ourselves? Like, he would want, the way that he's been described in the Bible, do you think he will be the dude that would want to save humanity as we are? You see how sick we are? You see how selfish we are? Like, it's not about it wouldn't really be about forgiveness. It would be about us changing. Because think about it. If we are going to be the way that we are, how are we going to be in heaven? We literally turn heaven into hell. You understand that? If we had good hearts, for real, right? This would be heaven. You understand that? You understand that the animals are suffering like crazy because of us. We're suffering like crazy because of us. So really, we need to change. And believing in Jesus doesn't really make people better. Doesn't make people change. It's not like people who believe in Jesus are Christ-like. No, they're not. There are people who do not believe in Jesus that are actually Christ-like. So believing in Jesus doesn't actually make you Christ-like. It doesn't make you want to do right. It doesn't make you selfless. It doesn't make you want to help other people. I know a lot of people who believe in Jesus and who call themselves Christians who are doing a lot of horrible things, who are horrible, who are scamming people, who are lying to people, who care about the money. You know what I mean? They're not helping anyone. They just say, I'm a Christian. They sing Christian songs and doing all this horrible shit. So being a Christian doesn't make you good. So why would Jesus say that, well, you'll be saved if you get baptized and you believe in me? Like, no. We would ruin heaven. I believe heaven is a state of mind. You need to be totally detached from this shit, from this world, because this world is sick. This is hell. Like you in hell right now. Like this is hell, right? So you need to be totally detached. Stop wanting the things that you want here, because there are a lot of horrible things that are going on. Like you shouldn't even want this at all. So you must totally detach yourself from it and be in a very high state of consciousness where you don't want anything to do with this place. where even when things happen in your own life, you don't really care because you already know this is how and you are being punished. I mean, if you were in prison, you already knew what happened in prison. Let's say a guard um, tells you that you're not supposed to get out of your cell until this time. I think you know that this is how things work. You literally get used to that. I mean, in the beginning, you'll be like, oh, but that's wrong. But, you know, after some few days, you'll be like, okay, this is how things work. This is where I'm at. You wouldn't really be feeling more like a victim because you know that that's how things really work. You in hell. This is how things really work. You just have to detach yourself. Expect the worst because, you know, the worst will actually happen once you become woke, you know, because you're in hell. It's like, in this world you're supposed to suffer. You're supposed to be giving your energy to these demons that be controlling this world. You're supposed to be feeding them your energy. So if you're going to reach high levels of consciousness where you're not even suffering, they're going to try to make you suffer in different ways. But like, oh shit, this person doesn't care what happens to them, let's try to make his life worse. But yo, all of this is a scam, man. You know, the fact that we're born without our consent, I mean, that's fucked up. You're born without your consent. You didn't ask to be here. You're forced to go to school and get brainwashed, you know. Your parents are going to indoctrinate you. The teachers are going to indoctrinate you. And you'll end up, you know, inheriting the values of this society and end up not being who you really are in order to survive because you gotta fit in. It's a scam, man. You're gonna have to allow people to make rules for you and you're supposed to follow these rules. If you do not follow the rules, they're gonna punish you and that's considered okay. Like, hey man, I did not agree to these rules. You know, these ain't my rules. I know my ancestors agreed to these rules, but these ain't my rules. It's their rules. I must be able to say I don't agree with these rules. Like I don't want to live in a world where I'm not supposed to be free. It would actually be great if people were free enough to choose the rules that are going to apply in their lives. Like, okay, look, I want to be able to smoke weed in my own home. And if the government doesn't want me to smoke weed, then it's okay. It means that I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to benefit from the government in some way. Maybe the government is not going to own me, so I'm not going to be protected by it. It's fine. You know, just because I was born in South Africa doesn't mean that I'm supposed to be a South African and I'm supposed to live by the rules of this country. You know, I must be able to say, yeah, I want to, you know, I want to be protected by this government. If I don't want to be protected by this government, then I must be able to say, hey, it's fine, I'll protect myself. So that I'll be able to play by my own rules. But once you're born, they own you. Give you a name, give you a number, but yeah, that's your ID number. Take your fingerprints. So they'll be able to track you. You're not really free, man. The people who are in power do not care about you and they wouldn't care about you the same way that you don't care about the animals. They look at you and they don't see anything special, you know. You might think that you're special, but they don't see anything special. They believe they are special. They love one another, but they don't love you. They don't care about you. They don't care what happens to you. You know, what they care about is having more power and being able to control you. They must be able to control your ass. They must be able to tell you what to do, you know. This is what they care about. They don't really care what you go through. They don't care if you are not earning enough to be able to pay your bills. They don't care. They don't care if you are sick and you don't have money to pay for treatment, they do not care. They don't care if you are homeless. That's why there are homeless people in every city, and no one is helping them. You know, I mean, they do give them food, just because they gotta pretend as if they care, but that's not good. No one cares about your children, man. Children going to school without shoes, without money for food, being taught garbage. Some don't even have desks, chairs. Like, this is a mess, bro. This is a mess. And you have children. Bring them into a world that doesn't care about them. It cares about what they're gonna do for it. See, this system cares about what you're gonna do for it. It doesn't care about you as a person. It doesn't care about what you go through as a person. You must become conscious enough to realize that every human must actually realize that we live in a world that doesn't care about us. But people will lie to themselves. It sucks. People be lying to themselves. Oh, there's a God that cares about it. Like, really? Don't realize that these gods that they gave you are the gods that they created for you to be able to enslave you. That when they're torturing you, you think that there's these gods that care, that are going to save you. Like, no, man. You think God cares about the animals that you are eating? Think about it. What makes you more special than the animals? If we're all been created by God, why would He not care about the animals that you are eating, that we've turned into slaves? Why would He not save them? I mean, they're truly innocent. So why would He care about your ass? If there are people who are more powerful than you, more advanced than you, who can do things that you cannot do, and they're enslaving you, and they're manipulating you, lying to you, tracking you, feeding you false information, spying on you, why would He care? He'd be like, oh yeah, this world is controlled by the Illuminati. I mean, yeah, they also gave you Jesus. This world is evil, and it's controlled by people who are evil. There's no one who's coming to save you. There isn't any religious figure that's gonna really save you. All of it is an illusion. All of it is a lie. It's manipulation. You are being manipulated. You are being, made to feel like there's a savior, so that when you are being mistreated, you think, at least there's a savior. You see Jay-Z and be like, oh, he's part of the Illuminati. He's gonna burn in hell for eternity because Jesus. He didn't believe in Jesus. Like, no, they invented Jesus, bruh. Like, oh, I'm better because I found Jesus and Jesus loves me. Like, nah, man. Like, wake up, open your eyes. Jesus was invented by the people who run the world. That is why people who are religious do not think. I never met a person who's actually religious who thinks. It's so scary. You talk to a person who's religious, you can see that you're talking to a robot. You can see that religion is a war on consciousness. People are supposed to remain at a certain state of consciousness. They're not supposed to go above that state. It's a scam. People who are highly educated are not smart. I've spoken to philosophers that are very educated, and I was like, what the hell? Like, they're supposed to be smart. They're supposed to be philosophers, but what's going on? It's a scam. You're not supposed to be smart. Politicians, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about you. They just lie to people all the time. They'll be lying to people, giving people false hope. If you vote for me, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. They get elected and they don't even talk about all the promises they made. They just eat money and enjoy, Go to Dubai and pay strippers to dance for them, and so that it will shit on them and all that fucked up shit that they do. because they're too rich. They don't know what else to do with money, and they don't give a fuck about you. I mean, they will help you if they care about you, but they're like, we're just gonna pay slave queens to dance for us, and we'll make them do all these horrible things and give them money, you know. And then these slave queens were driving the dopest cars and be like, yeah, being a slave queen pays. You gotta be. You went to school, but look at how rich I am. Like, man, fuck your society. It's fucking stupid. Everything is upside down, and you too stupid to realize that you're not waking up. You know, you've been made to be very stupid, to operate at a very low level of consciousness where you are like an animal. You think the animals that we're manipulating do realize that we're manipulating them? No, they don't. Like, they're not meant to realize that they're being manipulated. So we just manipulate them however we want to manipulate them, and then in the end we eat them, and there isn't any God that's gonna save them. But like, what's happening to these animals is horrible, so let me save them. Like, no. Think about it. How many people have died in this world? How many people have suffered and died in this world? Who saved them? There are many innocent people who have suffered in this world for real. Like, for real. I mean, you think you're suffering, you're not suffering. Like, the people who have suffered and who have died, who have even done anything wrong, you know, the only thing that they've done wrong was, well, be born. But they've suffered, and then they got killed. No one saved them. No one is going to save them. There is no, I mean, I wanted to say that there's no afterlife, but what I really mean is that this afterlife that people have been promised doesn't exist. I mean, yeah, consciousness might really be eternal, who knows, but this afterlife that it's told us about isn't real. Like, oh, if you do this, if you do that, in the afterlife you'll be rewarded. Nah, it's all a lie. If they knew that's if you do the right things here you'll be rewarded, these people are smart. They will actually do the right thing because they want to be rewarded, because they'll feel like, hey man, why should I enjoy my life here if I know that it's just for a few years, and knowing that in the afterlife I'll be there for eternity? Why should I not do the right things? But they know that, well, they made it all up. They know they made it all up, so they're like, hey, whatever. Thank you all, guys.